More onlookers joined the crowd around the middle of the street as Alexander Godricson struggled to retrieve the end of his whip from Nathan Hayfield. As soon as Nathan threatened to kick Alexander's ass, the crowd had grown more animated, smelling the bloodlust in the air. Lady Sarah Hale, Stewart Lightstone, and Baylor all took a step back from Nathan as he grinned at his adversary. All of them recognized the fiery look in Nathan's eyes. It meant only one thing. Nathan was out for blood. The young warriors in the crowd whispered excitedly to one another as Nathan stared without blinking into Alexander's eyes. "Uh-oh, looks like young Master Alexander's between a rock and a hard place." "Yeah, and that rock goes by the name of Nathan Hayfield, the Demon Knight of Darkness." "That's Nathan Hayfield? Heavens help him! Duke Godricson's grandson is done for." "Nonsense. Nathan wouldn't be brash enough to truly harm the Duke's grandson, even if he is the son of the High Lord Hayfield. To do such a thing would be suicidal." "I don't know about that. I mean, the Demon Knight slew the High Lord Raven and all of his warriors not so long ago. Just look at the bloodlust in his eyes. I doubt he'd make such a threat if he didn't plan on backing it up." At the mention of Nathan's nickname, the Demon Knight, many eyes in the crowd widened. The ballad of the Demon Knight of Darkness was a popular tavern song at the moment, and bards across the realm had spread the story far and wide. Thus, even those rural warriors who hadn't heard about Nathan before still knew the story of the Demon Knight. In many ways, he'd become a sort of folk legend, and it was said that commoners with cruel lords would pray to the Demon Knight in hopes that he would free them from their master's tyranny. Whispers that the Demon Knight was confronting another spoiled lord spread quickly into the plaza, and the audience around them grew exponentially. Most of the folks in the audience hated the malevolent arrogance of the Duke's grandson and his older brother Roderick. The two spoiled brats ran rampant across the city, and would often terrorize the local common folk for no rhyme or reason whatsoever. They were known to extort business and then set them on fire for fun anyways, even after they had been paid. Sometimes the boys would challenge random commoners to a duel and beat them senselessly, just for the fun of it. Although occasionally they'd receive a slap on the wrist from the Duke for their crimes, it seemed they were in many ways above the law. Now that Alexander was close to a possible comeuppance, many in the crowd waited hungrily to see him punished for all of his many misdeeds. Due to his noble lineage, nobody would dare shout out their support for Nathan publicly, but his ruthless behavior had ensured that few would pity him if he fell to Nathan's blade. Meanwhile, Alexander was in complete and total shock at Nathan's insolence. His veins bulged in his head as he once again tugged at the hilt of his whip. "You cheeky little bastard! How dare you threaten me in such a way? Let go of my whip at once, or I'll have your head!" As he continued to tug for control of the whip, he failed to realize the crowd's reaction. Nearly everyone there knew of Nathan's power apart from him. His delusional self-importance kept him from realizing that he was in fact the one that ought to be apologizing. After resisting another few attempts to free the whip, Nathan finally smiled malevolently. "As you wish, young Master Godricson." Just as Alexander tugged for control of his whip with all his might and weight behind him, Nathan let go and immediately threw Alexander off balance. This time, Alexander lost control and fell off the back of the horse and landed face first into the side of the muddy cobblestone street. The horse bucked wildly as it realized its master had fallen until it tripped and plummeted to the ground beside him. Alexander wiped blood, mud, and tears from his face as he slowly sat up on the ground. Across from him, Nathan picked up the whip where it had been dropped. Nathan practiced whipping it a single time with satisfaction. As Nathan approached and loomed over Alexander, the spoiled duke's grandson closed his eyes as he waited to be struck. Before Nathan could crack the whip toward Alexander, the noble's horse suddenly got up and courageously defended its master, baring its teeth at Nathan. Nathan took a step back as the horse charged him with the intention of biting him. At the last moment, Nathan simply leaped over the horse as it galloped straight into a nearby merchant's stall and crashed uncontrollably into the angry tradesman's wares. As Nathan touched the ground, he quickly checked to make sure the animal wasn't hurt. Despite its attempts to harm him, he was impressed with the horse's loyalty to such a vile rider. The large white stallion was completely unharmed, but was currently stuck with its head in a large jar of pickled beets. Smiling at the ridiculous scene before him, Nathan's grin slowly faded as he turned back to Alexander, who tried to stand up and draw his sword. Alexander screamed out in pain as his own whip sliced through his hand, causing him to drop his blade and fall back into the mud. Nathan loomed over him threateningly as he began to curl up in a ball and cower. He threw out more hollow threats as his voice began to crack.
You monster! What are you doing? Don't you realize who I am? I'm the Duke's grandson, for heaven's sakes. If you kill me, there'll be no place you can hide in all of Godric's land. My family's warriors will hunt you down to the very ends of the earth. You better hurry and apologize, or my father will show up and punish you.
Finally, the sharp look in Nathan's eyes began to frighten Alexander into submission. Nathan didn't bat an eye at his threats, which made him think that he really was a hardened killer who'd have no problem striking him down. Such a person was far above his spiritual fighting level, and for the first time since the initial incident, Alexander began to regret his actions.
Rats! Out of all the streets I could have ridden through, why, I'd have to provoke such a terrifying warrior. Why have the heavens decided to curse me with this monster?
Nathan's grip around the whip tightened at Alexander's threats.
What do I care if your father comes or not? I'd slay him too if he got in my way. The Duke himself could arrive on the spot, and I wouldn't flinch. It's time you learned that status isn't everything.
In one swift motion, Nathan dropped Alexander's whip and drew his ancestral broadsword. He held the blade above his head as he prepared to strike Alexander down. Stewart Lightstone and Baylor rushed to Nathan's side, desperate to try to talk him out of it.
Young Master Nathan, please reconsider this course of action. You've already beaten him down into the mud. Let's just go and let the matter end as it is. Stewart's right, man. If you do this, there's no undoing it. You'd be declaring all-out war against the ruler of the fiefdom.
Nathan, however, refused to pay them any mind. His eyes were on Alexander, and Alexander alone.
Let them try and punish me then. A bully like him ought to be ashamed of themselves.
Alexander's mind raced as he desperately tried to figure out a way out of the situation. His body wanted to get up and make a run for it, but he knew he would not be fast enough to get away in time. As tears streamed freely down his face, he chose instead to grovel at Nathan's feet.
Sorry. Please don't kill me. I was wrong. I apologize.
At this point, even Sarah Hale was satisfied with Alexander's tears. She, too, turned to Nathan and shook her head.
I totally understand your feelings, Nathan, and as much as I'd love to see this little worm squirm around under your sword, Stewart's still right. You've already given him a lesson he won't forget.
Before Nathan could respond to Sarah's words, another voice boomed through the street, and the crowd from the plaza quickly parted to let another golden-robed warrior approach the scene, along with a column of the heavily armored Godricson guards.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.